He's on pace now for a career-high 72 appearances. He's number one in the major leagues, I believe, in games finished at 49.
Right.
And the narrative, I don't have the numbers in front of me, is he's been used in many games where they didn't have to use him. 3-run leads, 4-run leads, and maybe it's just all of a sudden the accumulation of all those innings, which maybe weren't necessary earlier in the year when you have a 3-run lead, maybe you can use somebody else, have caught up to him.
Yeah,
I don't know if
league-leading 49 appearances, so it's no surprise that he's breaking down and can't handle the workload.
I'm not a pitching coach. I don't know what a dead arm looks like, but the way he's performing, it looks like he's got a dead arm.
Right.
He just, like you say, 90-mile-an-hour fast, 95. It doesn't seem to be a lot of movement on his balls anymore. And if you get to Davey seems pretty rigid in the sense that if they have a 3-run lead, he feels like he has to go to his closer. And the one thing is Rizzo's done such a good job of surrounding him with guys that have saves on their resume that you don't have to always go to Doolittle just because you have a 3-run lead, just because it's technically a save situation. And I'm guessing that's how they handle it the next 6 weeks or so when he gets off the list.
I saw somebody online post how many times he had been used in even 4-run games. So earlier in the year, they were just using Doolittle a lot, which gets to bullpen management. So Doolittle has been Poolittle. He's been terrible. Over his last 10 appearances, ERA of 12.
Well, in August, his ERA is 12. In the last 7 days, it's 23. Post-All-Star break really is where it's turned. It's 7.3. So it's,
and he said he
it's been
tried
an extended
everything.
thing.
They found some sort of injury to put him on an injured list to give him some rest.
The need tendinitis.
But he said that he was, trying extra work. He changed up his workout routine, his weightlifting.
Right. They're trying all kinds of things.
If you want to chime in, 800-636-1067, do you put it just on the player, the Doolittle loss, or do you put it on some of Davey Martinez's bullpen management? The story of the season, if they don't go off and get into the playoffs and be successful, the story of the season is the bullpen. And some of that, early in the year, we were getting a lot of criticism from Rizzo. Now, Rizzo has tweaked the bullpen throughout the year and then at the trade deadline. And you have to feel better about the bullpen because it does seem like the additions of guys like Hudson have helped.
Absolutely.
And guys
Strickland.
they picked up along the way, too.
Absolutely. I think they've done a really good job of managing with what little resources they have.
But it's the story of the season.
Yeah, it's kind of defined them so far. It's been their weak link. I don't know. I think if Davey's guilty of a few things, I think one is maybe being a little bit too loyal. Another is maybe being a little bit too rigid so that it's a save situation. And unless, Doolittle's worked 2 or 3 games in a row, he's in all likelihood going to go to Sean. Maybe in some of those instances where you have a 3-run lead, you give another guy a shot and give Sean an extra day of rest.
He also
they have that flexibility now.
He also used them because he kind of had to. The
right.
bullpen
In fairness
was so
to him,
bad. It was so bad at the beginning of the season. If you wanted to win games, you pretty much had to throw out Doolittle.
Right.
Because when you brought in the other guys, they've whacked some of those guys.
Well,
those guys who were pitching in April, May, and June.
Right.
A lot of
Still
those guys
in for
aren't
bullpen.
here. Yeah. Well, remember, the criticism early on was, sometimes you have to bring your closer in the 8th inning.
Right.
Now they're grilling him for doing that.
Well, I think you can use him in the 8th inning, then have somebody else in the 9th inning if you have a guy.
Well, they were
Problem is
saying
they didn't have a guy.
No, people were saying, sometimes you got to have 4-out save. So
I think that's fine. The problem is, and I don't have the numbers. A lot of people claim that he would have them warming up in the bullpen in like these 3-inning or 3-run games, 4-run games. So beyond the amount of appearances, which Cakes pointed out is number 1 in Major League Baseball, it was all the times they had him warming up in the bullpen.
But I agree that Davey should not be so rigid. I mean, I'm stealing this from Todd Dybus's Twitter. Martinez says he told Doolittle that when he comes back, he's the closer. Why? Why give him that?
Right.
Why would you give him that guarantee just because he was a closer?
He can say whatever he wants. I think he's trying to keep him confident. I think that's what he's doing.
Fine.
That's what he's doing.
Behind closed doors. But I mean, if you have other guys who are more capable than Doolittle, I'm not going to turn back to Doolittle. I'll be like, you know what? You're now my 8th inning guy. If Hudson or Strickland or some combination of those two are taking care of the job while he's on the IL.
Well, if he comes back and pitches like he's been pitching. He's not your eighth inning guy either.
Yeah,
Because as you get ready for the playoffs, and right now they're going to make the playoffs for the wild card, let's say it is, Scherzer against whoever the Cubs throw out there, right? And it's in a wild card game, it's usually tight. So Scherzer comes out of the game after 110 pitches, it's 1-1. You're going to hand the ball to Sean Doolittle? I don't think.
All right, let's make 800-636-1067 if you want to chime in. The Nats are in pretty good position, had a pretty good weekend, and man, they showed some moxie continuing to come back on Saturday night. Ultimately, they fell.
They erased 4 deficits.
But they just kept coming back. But the Doolittle, the closer situation, has become, I'd say right now, their number one need. What's frustrating about it is, as we mentioned earlier, he was their one rock in the bullpen when they were struggling earlier.
In late July, his ERA was 2.72. It's ballooned to 4.33.
Yeah.